Hey everybody out there, this is Kane from Appalachian ADV with a special summer edition of the Appalachian ADV podcast. I haven't done this since around the Fool's Ride, so I'll probably be stumbling through this a bunch. But what I have is my good buddy Matt McCourt on the line with me, and I figured since I haven't done it in a while, I would want a friendly face on the other end of this thing with me. So how you doing there, Matt?
Good, thanks, Kane. Thanks for having me. This should be interesting. Let's put it like that.
It always is when we're together, man.
Yes.
So before we jump into anything, because just a quick little summary on who Matt is. So he's got a great YouTube channel, Life's Journey at 50. He's a member and the president of the GS Giants. He's one of the newest BDR ambassadors, and he's just out there in the adventure community a ton. And I think you're getting more and more recognized, I would say, for sure. But before we get into all that stuff, I wanted to just let you kind of tell everybody your story, like where you're from, that kind of thing. What's your family history? What kind of work history you got, and then what got you the legs?
That's a long one because I'm old. Actually, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, in the suburbs, and I ended up actually playing baseball in college. I played Division I baseball. Probably a lot of people don't realize that. I played at Cleveland State University back in, really dating myself, in the late 80s. So up until 1990. And from there, just, kind of started life, right? I been married twice, just FYI. Got a couple kids. I'm really proud of that. My son's 24. He's in the Air Force, and I know you were in the Air Force. You and I have had plenty of conversations around that.
For sure.
A lot of people some people know, some people don't know. I have a 21-year-old daughter as well. She has special needs. Mm-hmm. And so that's been fantastic. She's great. Actually, she's 22. She just had her birthday recently. But I've moved around a lot, though. After college, I've worked for a couple big companies. I've worked for Miller Brewing Company. I've worked for Dr. Pepper. I've worked for Swedish Match and Tobacco Company, so beer, soft drinks, and tobacco.
There you go.
So the only thing I haven't done is ATF. I haven't worked for like guns distributing or anything like Remington or something like that. And then I got into the data field, but I've also moved around. My jobs have taken me from Cleveland to New Orleans for a few years. My son was born in New Orleans.
Yeah.
We moved from New Orleans to Dallas. My daughter was born in Dallas. Went back to Cleveland for a period of time for Miller Brewing Company, and then finally ended up here in Cincinnati. But I've been here for over 20 years in Cincinnati, so this has kind of been, my second home, realistically.
Yeah.
And don't see any time leaving here. But so I've had and now I work for a data company, so I work for a lot of people think I'm independently wealthy, which I am not. So just everybody, because you know me, I've gone through so many motorcycles and I get everything. And I'm just very fortunate in my life to have had some great jobs and currently have a great job working for a tech company. And I have a lot of flexibility and freedoms. And I don't discount that at all, because I would not be able to do what I do today if it wasn't for that flexibility and that, being able to do that and financially be able to support what has become a habit in 4 years. I mean, King, when you start talking about that, I just gave a brief little history of me, but it's crazy that I bought my first motorcycle, a 2021 BMW 1250 GSA, March of 21.
Yeah.
March of 21. And we're in July of 25.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, it's been a little over 4 years. And you rattled off president of the GS Giants, part of the BDR Ambassador group, doing the YouTube thing. That's a whole different thing we can get into. We'll probably talk about that and how I got there. But I just look at my path for 4+ years of learning how to ride, and it's just been a whirlwind. I mean, my life, my life in general with my family and just moving and doing the different things that I've done professionally and personally is and then to do this in 4.5 years is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answered your question. I mean, it's a,
Sure.
it's a long, like I said, it's a long journey, but no pun intended. But it has been pretty. I've had a pretty great life, and I'm very, very thankful for that, I should say.
Well, you've definitely put in a lot of time and effort into adventure, dual sport, motorcycling. Like personally, like I would even say it's like almost a side hustle at this point because you do it so much. I've seen you at so many places. You've come to a lot of the stuff that I do for sure, but we just ran into each other at Soggy Bottom. We see each other at Whale and Wayne all the time. You everywhere I go, you were there. And I love it, dude. Like I love watching the progress because I remember the first time I met you in person, you actually came to my PA Wilds tour.
Yeah.
And I had kind of heard of the Life's Journey at 50 thing just because we're both in the Adventure Riders Baha'i too, so we kind of know everybody in that community so much, but I didn't really know you at all.
Right.
And then you show up at the PA Wilds on 1250, and the next thing I know, I got a camera in my face, and me and you were chatting up, and it was just freaking awesome to see the excitement and like how interested you were in learning everything you could about the sport of motorcycling. So it's definitely been a whirlwind. And even though it's been only a few years, even me looking from the outside, I would not think that you just started in 2021. You've done so many things and have so much experience. It seems like you've been doing it for 10 years.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I am the type of person when I get involved with something, I'm kind of an all-in guy.
Yeah.
I'm either all in or I'm all out. I'm not. I don't really like kind of goof around or whatever. Like if I'm going to do something, I usually try to do it as best as I possibly can. Now, granted, I'm getting a little bit older, so my fear factor or what my some things are still a little bit dicey for me when I ride. But I have to say this community has been fantastic about that.
Yeah.
And I've always stated this. I even state this in my YouTube videos. 95 to 98% of the people in this community are absolutely fantastic. Now, you've always got your few that are a little bit, on the fringe, or and not all personalities work together, right? I mean, let's face it. But part of my motivation is that a lot of people said I'm nuts for getting a 1250 GSA. Like, why did you do that? Why do you think you could ride that bike off road? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it made me very determined.
Yeah.
And there was also one individual, I'm not going to mention any names. There's also an individual that, and I struggled at obviously that first year or two, right? I mean, anybody would, right? I mean, your first bike's the big Rhino. Like, what are you doing? Like, most people are like, why did you start on a 300, CRF or something like that? And someone told me I should just give up and sell everything because you can't ride. And that made me even more determined.
Yep.
And
it's motivation.
Yeah, it is. And coming across people like yourself, Chad Warner, who I sat down with from Whale and Wayne, and through you guys, I've met guys like Tom Asher, Matt Kelly, guys that were on GS Trophy teams.
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to ride with them. I went to the BMW Performance Center, made some friends there, and it just kind of morphed into riding with all these people, seeing their skill sets. And although I know I'm in my 50s, and part of my channel is really about showing people that you can still do this, even at this age.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, I can drone on or whatever, but at the end of the day, yes, there was a motivation for me to learn how to do this because a lot of people said that I was nuts and couldn't do it. One specific person told me to give up and sell everything I had because you're never going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And I was like, this is a podcast and a family-friendly podcast, but couple of fingers later, and like, screw you people, and I'm going to learn how to do this to the best of my ability. And I think I've come a long way. And trust me, I still have a lot to learn. There's no bones about it. But I think I can handle myself pretty decently now, and I might not go 100 miles an hour like some people do out on the trails, but I get through it. I've learned how to get through it. It might take me a couple of tries, but I end up getting it done. And for me, it's been a personal development, personal goal of mine, because I've been very successful, like I said, on the business side, and I wanted to transfer over here to my writing capabilities and have some fun with it, you know. And I like the challenge. That's what it comes down. I like the challenge.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
You know, that's the thing that I always liked about you and what you've done specifically with like Life's Journey at 50, and then all the other things that came out of those things, like, is you put it out there for the world. So that makes it tough because you're putting it in the public eye, which allows people to think that they have the only opinion that matters, which is usually bullshit. But the thing I liked about it too, I didn't start quite as old as you did, but I did start when I was older. I just turned 30 or 31 or something like that when I started riding. And I know the trials and tribulations you have to go through starting with something that a little bit later in life. But for me, my thing with what I've tried to turn with Appalachian ADV was give people that place to do that and to let them figure it out, because I don't think anybody knows everything, and I don't think that my way is particularly the best way for person A or person B or person C, but you help them find their way. And it's okay if they stumble, if they do things incorrectly. You're there to help guide them and all that stuff. And that's what I liked about what you're doing with your YouTube channel, is you're putting it all out there. You're showing the fact that you're falling a bunch.
No, that it's funny you bring that up, because I have obviously been lit up like a Christmas tree online. Again, people telling me bikes are too big, you can't do this, why do you do that? And again, it's a challenge for me when people say that. Sure, can I cut out all the crashes, all the drop bikes, all that stuff that goes on? Because I know other YouTubers that do it, that cut out all their stuff and keep it all clean, like they're riding clean all the time. I've seen it. I've actually been around it, and I'm not going to mention any names, but my feeling is that, again, the reality of life, the reality of doing this, putting yourself through this, I don't care what size of bike you have, whether you're riding a TW200 or whatever, up to the big rhinos, at some stage, you're going to drop a bike, you're going to, you can hydrolock. I've never hydrolocked, knock on wood. You're going to hydrolock it. I was with a guy this weekend at Soggy Bottom. Expert rider. KTM 500, hydrolocked it. Like, he's an expert rider. He's a fantastic rider. Stuff like that happens. You're nothing's ever perfect. And I think that's part of it, is also to show the challenge, and that it helps ease other people that are trying to get into this, realizing that, okay, other people struggle too, without watching videos that show a perfect ride or nothing ever happens. And it's just not true. People dump their bikes, and it happens. Now, I've been a crash test dummy, obviously, for a lot of stuff, and I've damaged and repaired a lot of bikes and a lot of parts and stuff like that. Heck, remember with you, first time we really met, and you talked about me shoving the mic in the, I went over that cliff. And
that was dramatic, man.
I've had some near-death experiences, and I've shared them. Columbia, like your thing, right? Then I go to Columbia. It's my rider error. I showed it. I made a bad decision choice, and I almost paid for it. And broke my wrist, broke my pinky, that type of stuff. I've showed my broken leg before when I was out in South Dakota riding. Now it could have been just me, but it was just a fluke accident on that one. But I show that stuff to show people that this can happen to you. And And that's what I like about the channel. I do. And again, like I said, I'm very fortunate on the financial side to be able to afford gear and stuff. Like everybody thinks that I get all this stuff for free too. Like, you know, and I don't. Like,
Yeah.
The couple of sponsors that I have on my YouTube videos, I get discounts, and it's not much more discounts than anybody else would get on a sale item, you know, type of thing. So
Yeah.
it's not like I'm getting all this stuff for free. I'm not. I am purchasing this stuff, and I share my experiences on the stuff that, you know, I have. So again, back to your point, my channel is really based on sharing real world stuff that goes on as best as I possibly can. So yes.
Sharing of information.
Yeah.
Like the thing I like too, like, because, you know, I run riding clinics, I do all these other events and stuff, and I always get people asking me to tell them what's right or wrong or what my opinion is on a thing. And usually I try to throw it back at them and say, well, what do you want to get out of it? Because the way that I do the thing may not be the best way for you to do it, but I can help you figure out that way maybe. And that's what I like about channels like yours, where you're not telling people this is how to do it. You're saying, this is me, this is all the things that go wrong, that go right, the things that I like, the things that I don't like. These are just my experiences. Take it or leave it. And that's kind of what I like to do with my stuff too, is I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the T7 is the bike you should always buy, or this particular piece of gear is the thing you should always get. It's what are you trying to get out of your riding, and then I can help you make the decision, as opposed to me telling you what the decision is. It's your decision to make, not mine.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just did a video about a week or two ago. I let go, and I talked about 5 things that I've learned in the last 4 years of riding. Mm-hmm. And one of them was, everybody has an opinion on a motorcycle and what you should like again, I bought a 1250 GSA, right? Yeah. Why would you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I've seen, you know, you've seen it on Facebook or forums or whatever, but you see the stuff and, oh, the T7, this is the greatest bike. No, the KTM 890 or this, that. It's whatever bike you want to ride and you feel comfortable on.
Yeah.
If you want to ride a TW200, you want to ride a CRF 450 or whatever you want to ride it and enjoy it, because A, it's your money, it's your decision on what you buy, and if that's the bike that you like, then ride the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've gone through a bunch of bikes. I mean, 4 years, I think. Hold on one second. Let me see. I'll turn around here. I don't think the audience will see it, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I bought 12 bikes in the last 4.5 years.
Yeah. That would have been my guess.
And I keep 4 in my garage. But that's 12 bikes because I've gone through a bunch of different stuff. And sometimes you like them. And again, I'm fortunate. I keep saying that, everybody. Not everybody has that luxury. And some people, you know, have just enough money to buy that one bike, and it might be 4 years old and they've got to fix it up and everything like that. It's okay. It is okay. Just because you don't have some Farkle that some other guy thinks is the world, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, and it's about having the fun and having the experience. But I do get to that point, like, there are some things that I do buy because, again, I've spent money on a bunch of different things and things that I like. Mm-hmm. I won't bring up the name brands, but at the end of the day, that's what I like. Yeah. But financially, does it make sense for some people? No, it doesn't, because there's other good gear out there. I mean, I will say this. I've tried your Griffin, big time sponsor for Griffin. Griffin, great people. Yeah. Great quality product. Mm-hmm. Didn't work for me in the environment that I wanted. And you and I had this conversation privately about a year ago. Yeah. I talked to them and stuff like that, and I kind of had to move on from that situation. But I still tell people to this day, they see my videos or they see whatever, and I say, yes, it's great quality gear. The price is comparable or is so available or affordable to people. Yeah. And the quality is right there with the name brand folks that are charging you 4 times as much. Yeah, exactly. I'm serious. It really is. And And so people look at me like, well, why do you do, well, it's a personal preference. There's some things that we can get into, but at the end of the day, there is quality gear from low end all the way to the high end. It's really what comes down to you personally.
Yeah.
And how that fits in your life.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. It comes down to, when you talk about training, some things that you might click with one of your trainees, right? Like someone who's taking your class.
Yeah.
Some people might not click with what you're trying to tell them, but it might click with somebody else telling them.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's, again, everybody has their own vision or their own experience, and the best thing that we could do is to pass on what we feel is personal knowledge or knowledge that we think will help them.
Yeah.
And what people do with it is up to them, because it's the old adage, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make somebody drink it. And
Yep.
but yeah, yeah, it's not good. I get it. It's hard. People have ideas about things, and I don't like to force things on them, folks. I just try to tell them exactly.
Yep.
These are things that I've gone through, and hopefully it helps them make a better decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's key. You just give people information.
Yep.
Like you have been able to utilize your good fortune to like really go out there and test all these different bikes, all this different gear. And like some people don't have that ability for sure, but at least they have something that they can buy. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just give people that information. Because what I try to do is there's usually more than one side to anything, whether it's riding gear or thing. And then if you find out what they want to get out of it, you can kind of point them in a better direction.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? You talk about that. I'll give one example. Everybody like it's the tires.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, God,
like,
yeah.
oh my God. Tires will start a war, like when you start talking about tires. And it's like, to your point though, what kind of riding are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you going to ride predominantly off-road? You're going to ride 50-50? You're going to ride more street?
Yeah.
Like, here's different options and stuff like that. But people will come along, and I've seen it in the forums. You've seen it even on Facebook. Like, hey, I'm a new guy. I've got this. What do you think for tires? Oh my God. Like, I'm not a big fan of a couple of brands, and I'm a bigger fan of a couple of brands. But people will be so, if you buy anything else, you're an idiot, or whatever. And I'm like, who are you? Are you the tire god that told somebody? Like, all the person did was ask what kind of, and the basic answer you get back is, what kind of riding are you going to do? How, that type of thing. There you can kind of form some opinions and give them a couple of different options, and it's really up to that person.
Well, that's the problem with the social media thing. The good thing is, like, without it, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing for sure.
Right.
But like the bad part of that is it gives everybody a microphone, and then some people just can't. There's something that they just can't figure out, is that your personal opinion isn't the word of God. Like, just because you think that this is the way that it is doesn't mean that's the way it is for everybody.
Right.
So that is the problem, is people get on there and they think that everybody should have an opinion. Everybody should have opinions on things, no problem. Right. But you should also realize that just because it's your opinion doesn't mean it's somebody else's fact. You know what I mean?
And I think I did a video on that about 6 months ago. Opinions are like assholes.
Yeah, that was a great video for sure.
And it is, and I've been guilty of it. I'll admit it. I've been guilty of it, because I'll just use the analogy I already used, the tire thing, right? Yeah. I'm not a big Michelin fan. I'm not a big Anarchy Wilds. It's my personal preference. I
agree.
I've got hundreds of, I've got 64,000 miles on my other GS, and then all the other bikes, I think I've got to combine 100,000 plus miles, right?
Yeah.
So I've gone through some tires, and I just don't like the Michelins, the sound or whatever. And I've been guilty of that. I've said a couple of different brands and stay away from these, and then I have to go back to your point and say, well, who am I to say this? Just give them the options and let them go try it out for themselves. But yeah, I've been guilty of it, but we're all guilty of it at some stage. But
Well,
But
I
you
know
have
you're a fan of Motors, so am I. So we can just both agree that that's just the best tire out there for sure. So
I did not say, well, you said that. I'm
I
trying to
did.
be nice on the podcast, but yes, I do use Motas everywhere.
Well, the point is
How do
like
they help me out?
I tell people why I think that that's the best tire.
Yes.
And then I will try to give them, well, I know these other people that ride like this and they like this tire because of this reason. And then I look at the tread patterns and I try to go into that. Like, well, if you look at this tire compared to this tire, this is a tread pattern I enjoy riding with, and this is why that, so
You're so spot on. You're so spot on.
I've had this conversation a million times at this point. So, but
Yep.
it's all, to me, it's, we like to ride off-road more. So, of course, we like a more aggressive tire that has
Right.
a tread pattern like a Motaz does. So, it's for the big bikes.
Yep.
Sure. So, but after doing this for so long and talking to other people who like other brands and using other brands myself, I can tell you why I like the thing I like. I can tell you
Yes.
why other people like the things that they like. And then I'll talk about the tread patterns and the longevity because, yeah, Motaz costs a bit more, but the longevity is really great, even on paved roads. So you have to throw all these things out there. And then, hey, it's your decision to make. If you do what you want to do, but
Right.
here's as much information as I can give you on all of it.
Exactly. And it just goes back to share your experiences, share your thoughts on kind of what you've seen and experienced,
Mm-hmm.
and then let that person make the decision on their own because
Yeah.
again, you can't, people again, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Just let people be people, man.
Yeah.
Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
Well, when I first started too, especially, being new to like running events and especially when I started doing the clinics more so, people would ask me those questions and I would kind of give them more so like, well, this is what I do.
Right.
And then I don't remember who, at this point, I don't remember who it was, what clinic it was in, but they were like, well, that's good for you. That's not really good for what they were wanting though. And I said, you know what, you're right. I'm telling you kind of my opinion on why I use the thing that I use. And I'm kind of pushing that opinion on you, but you're not trying to ride like I ride. So
Right.
let me take a step back and think about that again, and then I'll tell you in a different way the pros and cons of a couple of these different tires or whatever the thing is
Yeah.
that we were talking about. It's definitely like a learning experience when you're out there doing these things, or whether it's your YouTube channel or at an event or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
it is. It's all a learning experience.
It is. It is all a learning experience. I will say this, what has been nice at Rallies, probably over the last maybe year and a half, my channel's growing a little bit. I have had people come up to me out of the curve. You're the life's journey of 50 guy, and
Yeah.
thank you for this and thank you for doing that. And I've had a lot of that, which has really made me feel like, okay, I'm doing some good.
Yeah.
Like, and people are actually like watching and kind of come, where I'm coming from. And I'm glad that that's helping people. Like
Yeah.
we talked about, like I've done some reviews on stuff and people have bought things, from my reviews. Heck, Josh is happy from Kissel. My Touareg 660 that I had for a little bit, and then I
Yeah.
got the F900 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just told me that some guy watched my videos from Florida and is flying up from Florida to buy the bike.
That's great. Yeah.
So again, it makes me feel good that I'm able to at least contribute to, and some folks are able to understand where I'm coming from on some of these things, and just helping people, trying to help people understand.
And when that first started happening with me, I think Whale and Wayne is when I really clicked that. Like I started seeing people wearing my hat or one of my shirts and stuff, and then people coming up to me, oh, you're that guy that runs Appalachian ADV. Like it's really odd at first, but then I think what really hits you is there's a responsibility with that too.
Oh yeah.
You have to be honest. If you want to be effective, you have to be honest, basically. And I think that's what we've been saying all along here is like, I'll tell you my opinions on things, and I'm not going to tell you a thing just because they're a sponsor of mine. I'm going to tell you, maybe
Right.
they became a sponsor because I used their thing and I liked it, and then I reached out to them. That's usually how most of my sponsors have come up with us.
And that's really why, between Motaz, the Bark Busters, obviously, because I drop my bike a lot, so the Bark Busters come extremely handy. But the Motaz, I have just found that you're right, with me doing what I'm doing off road, just the tread pattern and their durability is what has sold me on those on having them be a partner. And
Yeah.
Black Dog, I met Kurt. It was by habit chance because I got invited out to the launch of the Wyoming BDR out in California
Yeah.
2 years ago, and I met Kurt there, and we started talking. We kind of developed a relationship, and sure enough, I mean, again, look at what I've done to my bikes, right? And Black Dog has my bike at your thing when we talked earlier about when I went off the cliff there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Black Dog's brace that holds the so the crash bars don't go in, that's the only thing that saved my bike from being totaled out was his beam that goes across there.
Dude, there was a giant chunk out of that tree. There's no way that bike should have not been just completely destroyed if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I credit that Black Dog brace for saving my bike.
Yeah.
And so after all that, that's kind of when Kurt and I kind of struck up a little thing, and every one of my bikes has Black Dog on it at some stage, skid plate, whatever else, pegs.
My Tenere has their skid plate on it.
Yeah, and so I'm a big proponent of Black Dog. Some people, again, this is the debate thing, right? Oh, it's too heavy, it's too thick, it's all this. I'm like, well, I put my bike through, let's put it like this, I've put my bikes through hell, learning how to ride. And they have protected my bike all day long.
Yeah.
Are they maybe 2 to 5 pounds heavier than somebody else's? I'll take the 2 to 5 pounds because I know that I'm getting the best protection I possibly can. So
I think people worry about weight too much.
Yeah, there's something to be said, if you're overloading your bike and you've got all this weight on it, I mean, at that perspective, I understand it, but adding the protection and thinking that you're adding all this weight to it is really not going to throw off anything. I'm telling you, like, if you're riding this stuff off road and you're trying to do the things that you see us doing sometimes, it's well worth it to have that protection, because long term, the damage to your bike and the cost to repair all that stuff is astronomical.
Yep.
Trust me.
For sure.
When I did my video at the beginning of this year in January 2025, I think it was my first video of the year, I talked about the cost of owning 2 GSs.
Yeah.
I choked. My finance guy has about killed me. But for all those out here in the podcast land, I mean, it's over $100,000 I've spent in when I did the video in the 3.5 years I've owned both bikes.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's upgraded suspension, all the stuff on it, and
a lot of bells and whistles.
And then all the repairs. I've gone through a couple of clutches on the GSA, a clutch on the GS,
Yeah.
And people are like, how do you tear a clutch? Well, those clutches on those BMWs are not, yes, they say that they're dual, off-road bikes, or they're not really. The engagement on that clutch, when you're constantly feathering the clutch and you're in very technical stuff, those clutches get chewed up. And don't just say it's because of me. Now, one, I did do because I was so newbie at it that I fried it. The other 2 clutches were just from wear and tear. And so sure enough, I mean, you can ask other guys. I mean, I've gone through this with other people. But yeah, so cost, it adds up. So when you're making that investment, you talk about the weight and all this other stuff, and I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but when you start talking about adding weight and stuff to the bike, it's about protection of your bike. And and
Yeah.
you're better off long term to make sure that you have that. It just, I don't know. I'm just a big proponent of having good quality stuff. So
I agree. I
sorry.
think like if you're racing, like if you're actually
Oh,
racing and trying to like win a race, then yeah,
right,
sure, you want light bikes because it doesn't matter if you smash it, you're just done with the race. You haul yourself out of there and you're done.
right,
But if you're riding like we do, like adventure riding, dual
right.
sport, like if you wreck, that
Make the
sucks.
investment. Make the
Yeah.
investment. That few pounds is not going to cost you anything.
No.
Again, like you said, if you're doing a hare scramble or you're doing some 24-hour ride and you're
Yeah.
you win some race or whatever, I get it. Strip it down, clean it up, get all the weight you can off of it so the bike's lighter and faster.
Yeah.
I get all that. But if you're doing just normal stuff like we are doing adventure riding and you're doing some trails and stuff like that, get some protection and those few
Yeah.
pounds are not going to hurt.
Yeah. Mitigate the risk, man.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, we've talked about your YouTube channel a bunch, but what I would like to hear from you
Yes.
is like, why? What was the genesis of you doing that? Like, why
Oh,
did you want to do that? And kind of what is your mission of it? I know we kind of talked around that a little bit, but just
yeah.
tell me like why.
So this all came out of obviously during the pandemic, right? COVID happened. We all were sitting in our homes. I'm going to tell you flat out, this is where I been single for a while. I actually started Life's Journey at 50 as a podcast.
Hmm.
So I was on Spotify, Apple, Amazon. I forget how many subscribers. I had 3 times as many subscribers as I do now on the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
But I talked about what it was is Life's Journey at 50. Again, single guy in his 50s. I talked about dating. I talked about politics. I talked about having a special needs daughter. I covered the gamut on stuff. I like just about life. That's
Yeah.
what it really was about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. And they were, I had anywhere from 20 to 40-minute segments, and I put out 2 a week on my podcast, and I was having fun with it. And then I am the proverbial Ewan and Charlie
Yeah.
long way around. I am. I had Apple TV,
Yeah.
COVID, got nothing else to do. I'm watching this. I got hooked. Boom, bought the bike in March of 21.
Yeah.
So I didn't transfer. I started videotaping in the first few, my probably first year of videos is just brutal, as anything would be, right? But I started liking it. Like I wanted to share my experience, and it was kind of I was trying to do both at one time. But I got a real gig. I got a daughter. Like I said, I got all this stuff going on in my personal life too. With work and stuff like that. Because I am not, like I said, independently wealthy or silver spoon or any of this other stuff that I've been accused of. But I was trying to do both, and I had to give one of them up.
Yeah.
And my passion for this thing we do,
Yeah.
venture riding, motorcycle, whatever, took over.
Yeah.
And I gave up the podcasting stuff to focus on this. Now, is the podcasting a lot easier? Absolutely. I have taught myself how to video edit, and that's brutal. I'm still learning stuff every single day on it. But realistically, it started from doing a podcast, and then when I got into the motorcycle thing, that's when it all clicked that here I am, and I was 54 at the time, I'm 58. Can you do this at this age? Learn something new.
Yeah.
Motorcycle, adventure riding. I was tent camping by myself. I went on a ton of places, right? I mean, oh my God, I think my first year I put 28,000 miles on my GS. And so yeah, I that's what started me, and it was the passion around, all right, hey, I was buying stuff, trying different things, and it just kind of all came together. That's where I was just like, I'm going to share my experiences. I'm going to share the good stuff, the bad stuff, stuff in between, and try to keep it real for people. And that's really how this channel grew into it. Now, I've asked people because I think life's journey at 50 doesn't translate to ADV or motorcycle world because of just the name of it.
Yeah.
And I thought about changing it at one stage, but I don't know. I mean, I changed the logo this past year to try to incorporate more of the bike and more of a tagline of my moto adventures, because my original one was life, travel, adventure, or something like that. And there was the logo was, you couldn't really make it out to a certain degree. And what's life's journey at 50 anyways? Like, that's not a motorcycle. Like, so I don't think that really resonated. But when I changed the logo and then, and granted, as you kind of get into the community and stuff like that, it starts growing a little bit. And I mean, like I said, nobody's making money. I shouldn't say nobody's making money. People ask me, oh, you're making all this money on YouTube. Let me tell you something.
No way.
I have 3,600 subscribers. And I'm thankful for every one of them that have clicked on to subscribe.
Yeah.
But you don't make any. I've told people I make about $125 a month if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time. So I'm making maybe what, 12, let's call it $1,500 a year.
Yeah.
But you're making something. Okay, well, yeah. Well, you've got to pay for my LLC
Yep.
every year. You know how this program works.
Oh yeah.
I've got to pay for editing music and stuff like that for the like all this stuff that you got to do for editing and software and upgrades. And then if I got to buy a new camera and I break something, like Soggy Bottom, I broke my Insta360. I just bought it 2 months ago, $500 and some dollars.
Yeah.
So it's real world expenses. But back to your point though, my whole crux of this whole thing came out of sharing my life experiences with people.
Yeah.
And I got into the motorcycle stuff, and I was like, why not share getting into this in your 50s? And for people that maybe are scared to do it or thinking about doing it or whatever, well, you can do it. Just you got to do it. And here's what is going to happen. Like, here's my failures. Here's this. Here's that. Like, I have a bridge named after me because of one of my very first. I don't know if I think I've told you this or you know about it, but at the BMW Performance Center, there's a bridge. It's the McCourt Bridge, type of thing. Life's Journey at 50 bridge, because and there's a story behind why I went off the bridge, but when you see the video, because I didn't know how to edit, I still, I didn't know what I was doing back then. I went off the bridge, almost broke both my ankles when I was on. But I've shared that with everybody. Like, most people would have never shared that they went to the BMW Performance Center and showed them riding off of the little bridge into the ravine,
It's
and
so funny.
so, yeah, I think that's part of it. I'm not afraid to share that stuff with
Well, that's going back to being honest. You have to be honest.
Yes. And
whether it's embarrassing or not.
I was at an event. I will tell you this. I was at an event last year, and another pretty good sized YouTube person was there, and they were riding with the bigger group or whatever, and they came up, and for whatever reason they lost their balance and dumped their bike in front of like everybody. I had my camera rolling and I got it here. I said, it's going on YouTube, type of thing. And they asked me not to put it on because they didn't want to show that they went down. And I was like, wow, like, those are real moments for me. Those are, to me, that's what shows that they're just a common person like the rest. Like, we're all just people.
Regardless, laugh at yourself, man.
Yeah, regardless of your background, your economic status, any of that stuff, doesn't matter. All that stuff doesn't matter. We're all motorcycle riders. We're all going to face challenges like I talked about. We're all going to, at some stage, do something dumb on our bikes. Whether it's just standing there and dumping it at the gas station. I have a buddy, Dan Down. I you know who he is at Whalen Lane, but he's Dan Down, and he got that name just because he's dropped his bike at the gas station 2 or 3 times in our group. Like, it's just fun. It's Dan Down, and but that stuff happens, and that's to me the beauty of trying to keep it real and show people my struggle. Like, I just talked about my Beta 430 on at Soggy Bottom. I took it on that little track or whatever. I've already had comments like, I think, oh, it's too much for you, and blah. I'm like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to show you what I went through and kind of what I did, and I
Yeah.
got through the course,
Yeah.
but it might not have been pretty.
That's the
You might
important
not like
part.
the way I did it, but
Yeah.
I got through it, and
Yeah.
that's what I tell people all the time. Like, I'll go with you on a ride because I'll go anywhere and I'll get through it, and I might not go as fast as you are. You might have to wait for me for 5 minutes at the other end of the ride or whatever,
Uh-huh.
but I'm going to be there, and I'm going to get through it. And so that's, again, comes back to your original question. It started as a podcast. I got hooked on the motorcycle thing, and I wanted to share my journey
Yeah.
going through this ADV experience that I've been on.
Yeah.
My motorcycle riding life.
Yeah.
And so, and I've bought a couple of, I've bought a couple of street bikes. I've had a BMW R9T, I've had a Bonneville T120 Black, and I've had a K1600 GT. All three fantastic bikes. All three fantastic bikes.
Yeah.
I do regret getting rid of a couple of them, but all three fantastic. But I realized I like the adventure community. I like riding adventure bikes. I like being out in the woods. I like the challenge of all that. And so that's what it really has turned into, is Life's Journey at 50, of showing my journey in this arena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what the adventure bike does, is it pulls in just so many things. It's the synergy of the motorcycle, the terrain you're going through. Like the big motorcycle saying is true freedom is a motorcycle, right?
Right.
But I feel like if you want to really make that as accurate as it should be, it's true freedom's in an adventure and dual sport motorcycle, because it opens up way more of the world to you to explore.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Because I've been, you obviously been a BDR ambassador for a while. I'm just newly to it, but I think I've done 7 total BDRs, including, and those include some of the BDRXs or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to head out to Idaho. And we did Colorado last year. And anyways, long story short is, you are not going to see some of these mountain passes and stuff, because you're not going to ride a Harley up there.
Yeah.
You're not going to ride a street bike up there.
Nope.
Now, granted, there are people that could. There literally people that could, but for the most part, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have an adventure bike and I wasn't in training, I mean, we can get into training all day long, because I think that's the biggest key to everything, is train, take at least 1 or 2 training classes every year. I don't care who you are. I know some people will say, oh, I know everything, but there are certain things that you can continue to keep learning, right? We talked about that. But that adventure riding gives you this freedom to see these things in all over the world that you would never see if you were just on a plain regular street bike.
Yeah.
And the mountain passes and the views and the vistas and everything. Heck, I remember, the first time I ever met you and we were on that ride, you took us through, was it Bald Eagle or whatever? Was it Bald Eagle? Where we had that little alcove, and I took my drone out and I took that picture.
Yeah. I was up in the PA Wilds, yeah.
Yeah, PA Wild. And I mean, it's just, you see beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And those are the things that you just do, that you see, that you just can't really experience from other, from streets. So yeah, the adventure thing has just been fantastic.
I think what it does, though, is it invigorates you.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people that, like me and you, who didn't do this when we were younger, and it's a great way to reinvigorate your life, to learn some new things, see, just like we're saying, you see just so many new things. The community, like you've mentioned, and I've mentioned in the past too, the adventure dual sport community is so open and welcoming. It is such a great place to be. If you like being outside and outdoors, and you want to explore and meet great people and do awesome things, this is for you.
It is. It's funny too. Like I said, I get back into the 97% of the people are all great people. You're going to have 2 or 3% that are funky. But for the most part, everybody loves to bust chops. Everybody gives each other a hard time about what bike or what tire, all the stuff that we've talked about.
Yeah.
But we have fun with it. Majority of people have fun with it. little bit of ribbing, a little, again, busting each other's chops. But that's what makes it fun, because it's that camaraderie that you share, because you'll be out on a trail like at your Fool's Ride this year.
Yeah.
Here, we're all stopped because one guy got a flat tire, and we're sitting there filming Ryan,
Yeah.
who just is fixing the tire for somebody else, right? But we're all giving each other a hard time, and I'm like, not gonna get me to do it, because I can tell you right now, everybody's gonna laugh at me again, because a couple of things that I don't do. I'm not a mechanic, man. Like if I had outside of plugging a tire, if I had to put a tube in my tire, I'd be there for 4 days and probably die with crows flying above me, because I would be trying to break the bead and stuff like that, and I get yelled at. I say yelled at by my buddies and stuff, like, dude, you got to learn how to do that. I'm like, I've tried. I'm gonna break my fingers or my back or whatever doing it. But I mean, of course, I could probably do it. I'm obviously being a little dramatic on it, but still, and we're busting each other's chops about it. Like, and Ryan's like, dude, here, you fix it. I ain't fix. You want to be here 2 hours longer? So yeah, it's fun. The community is fun. Everybody, once you get to know people and you say hi to one another and talk about their bikes or their experiences, and where's some great riding and where have you gone, and sharing stories and places to go and stay and camp or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, it's boundless, because there's so many different things for people to do and so many different rides, and it's just fun to have those conversations with everybody.
Yeah.
It just is. It's just like you said, invigorating is a great word.
Yeah.
Because it keeps you youthful.
Yeah.
It keeps you spirited.
Yeah.
It energizes you. Yeah. And it really just like puts that, like, I want to do this more.
Yeah.
Whole thing.
The good thing about adventure dual sport too, I mean, there's so many good things, but like, it does invigorate your mind, because both feet and both hands are doing different things. Your head is into a million places, and you're looking at the beautiful thing, but you're also not trying to ride off a cliff. And like, it's just, you have to keep your mind young. That helps your body stay young. So by doing stuff like that is super, I mean, it's physical, it's mental, you're actually out breathing fresh air, the camaraderie of the people around you, like, it's.
You say all that stuff. It's funny, because I'm a pretty big guy, as you well know, and my vice, as I've told people, is it's hard for me to push away from the table. I will say that. But I could only imagine that if I wasn't doing this, and didn't have something like this in my life, that like I would really have to be watching, because this is part of I get out, it's that fresh air, it's the mind stuff, even the physical side of it, because I've lifted my bike God knows how many times. I don't have to go to the gym, and that 600-pound GS it weighs a lot, and that's only when then when it was fully loaded, it's even more. But you are right. It is there's just a spirit and there's just an energy and a spirit to it all.
Yeah.
Partly freedom, right? Even when you're riding by yourself, as sharp as you have to be to control the bike and all the things that go on in that, at the same time, your mind is free to kind of, like, they call that windshield time too, right? You get on your bike in that windshield time, and it helps you free up your mind and just kind of it's like a release. And it's if you've never ridden or you don't get out that often, I would say get out and experience it, because once you do and you make a couple of big trips or you do some different things, you'll see what we're really talking about and what it's all about.
And not that this was even intended, but like another factor is like it's humanizing. Because it doesn't matter what I've found, but I've been doing this since 2020 basically, and what I've found is I have no idea, and you can kind of guess sometimes, but I have no idea what political parties people are, what mutually what they're at. Like, it just basically helps break through all those barriers. It gives you guys a shared experience. You're helping each other drag bikes through the woods. Maybe they voted for who you think is the wrong person and you voted for who they think is the wrong person. But it doesn't matter when you're out there changing a tire together, busting each other's tops,
Right?
picking up a bike out of the mud and dragging it out of a ravine. Like all of those things.
Doesn't matter.
Strip it. So there's plenty of people that I know just, after you get to know people, you kind of know, oh, this guy's probably a Republican, this one's probably a Democrat, but it doesn't fucking matter. Like we're still going to be friendly. We're still going to have these great experiences. Like there's so many aspects to this motorcycling thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you allow that stuff to creep in, it could ruin things, right? It's just like anything, like I was always taught, like you don't bring up politics and religion at the dinner table, right? When you're talking just about bikes and all the stuff that goes on, to your point, none of that stuff matters. And a lot of times when you're out on the trail and there's only 4 or 5 of you, nothing matters. Doesn't matter what I believe in, what you believe in. You're there, and it's kind of like that, and you were in the military. I didn't have the pleasure to serve, but you were, you're a team. And I did play ball in college, so again, I take that too. You're a team. So you have each other's back. I don't care. It's kind of like a family thing, right? I don't. You and I can talk bad about each other, but don't let somebody else talk bad about them, right? But you're a team, and when you're out in the trail or you're out in the thick of it, you're a team. You're working together to accomplish things or to protect one another, to help one another, and that's kind of what that community is like. This community is like, and it's kind of like what you're talking about, because it just doesn't matter. All that other stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I agree, man.
It doesn't matter.
So let's shift the gears again here.
Got it.
So I mentioned in the opening there that you are the president of the GS Giants. So what I'd like maybe from you is tell us what the GS Giants are, what they stand for, what their mission is, and like how did you get involved with that organization and become the president?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that question. The Giants have been around for 15 years, and they were, started a long time ago, obviously before I was even thinking about riding a motorcycle. And it has morphed over time. The Giants used to be, obviously, was GS Giants, so GS was, at the core. And I think what's transpired, at least since I've been involved now, I've been involved for just a shade over 2 years, maybe. We've had some struggles hosting rallies, also some leadership things here and there that were struggles. Without getting into a lot of detail and stuff and things, it's been rough there for the last 3 or 4 years, or so. And I decided when the presidency was thrusted upon me, because our last president quit because there were some disputes on the board. Don't want to get into all the personal stuff, but a couple of things changed, and I realized that I didn't realize how political things are sometimes in this community, more so than what people know. My idea for the GS Giants, originally the Giants were really based on getting together, having a group of people, like-minded people, and pick a location in the country or different parts of the country, and Giants come together and do camp outs and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff's gone by the wayside because, let's face it, a lot of rallies going on. Let's think, you've got rallies, Wayland Wayne, Soggy Bottom, and then you got corporate stuff going on, right? The Tortex and the Dirt Days and the Moscow, all that stuff, right? So some of that stuff's gone by the wayside. And so now the Giants are really focused on a couple of things. We've partnered with different rallies. And the Giants have also always been known as building the skills competition towards the GS trophy, right? So now the focus is really what I've streamlined it to do. Instead of us hosting a rally, which has been a little bit of a cluster, I would say. We only had a couple of rallies in the last 5 years, and it's been really rough. And even this year we had to cancel because of low participation. So we've decided that we are partnering right now, currently, with the 49er rally out west. We have signed an agreement and are going to build the tracks for the MOA, the BMW MOA, which we just did in Tennessee in June. We partner with Whale and Wayne for the Little Giants.
Yeah.
As part of that, we give the prizes away to the Little Giants. I call them the Little Giants.
Yeah.
The kids that that's always fun to watch them kids. Last year we gave them climb goggles and climb backpacks.
Yeah.
And you would have thought we gave them, I don't know, gold bar.
I'm gonna get my
Which
son
is
to do that this
fantastic.
year.
Yeah, what's that?
I'm gonna get my son down here to do that this year.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. So we're going to do that again this year. We're looking at doing some different things going into 2026. We got new board members, so that's helped a little bit. We also changed the motto of the club. Rung what you brung. Like any bike, anybody's able to join the GS Giants. It's $15 a year, and you get a sticker, a GS Giant sticker, right?
Yeah.
Some people have said, hey, why don't you change the name, everything. There's something to be said about having the GS Giants because it's a brand equity and all that stuff. But we invite anybody to join, and you get a sticker, $15. God, that's almost a Starbucks coffee, or as cheap as a Starbucks coffee, especially for all those GS riders that go to Starbucks. So again, that's just a little play on the joke inside the community. But the other thing too is we do bring to our members, and we have over 500 paid members every year, and we have about 14,000 on our Facebook page. But obviously, we would love the numbers to grow. But what we do is we supplement, and we have sales every year. So we partner with Motaz. We just ran a Moscow deal on their IR jacket, and where you got 25% off. And so if you're a member, you got an option to buy a Moscow gear at that. Tires, Motaz was giving us a 30% off. I mean, that's unheard of, right? We've done stuff with Clearwater. We've done some stuff with other companies.
Yeah.
And we plan on doing that even more so in the future. So that's part of that. That's really what the Giants is that we want to be a resource for the ADV community.
Yeah.
We have a new website that's going to be launched over the next few months. We're kind of going to go through a refresh because we've added 3 new board members. Some people have retired. There's going to be an influx of a lot of new things. Like I said, we changed our ideas around the Giants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got involved because I wanted to help the club out, and I wanted to, and I have a couple GSs, right? And so that's kind of how that's all morphed in the last couple of years. And it's been a little chaotic prior to that because of just different personalities, different strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm back to the make it simple, right? Like make it simple, make it easy for people. Yeah. And so we're back to designing the courses at the events that we partner with. Join our membership. You'll get discounts on some of the top brands inside the community, like even Black Dog. We run specials with them, those type of things. Yeah. So you have for $15, you have an option to save 20 to 30% on some of these items. Like that's well worth any $15 that you spend, right? And our webpage is going to start focus on forums around travel and different things, and it hasn't been updated in a while, and that's been a big burden of ours as well. So if anybody's listening who would love to be like a social media person for the GS Giants, or it doesn't take a lot of commitment, there's love to have more volunteers to help out as board members. And again, it's a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. Yeah. And so all the resources go back into prizes. Like even at the 49er rally and at the MOA rally, we gave away climb gear to the top winners. Yeah. So we do take the money from the membership and reinvest it back into the community. Yeah. And making sure that the prizes, we also we donate to the MOA. We donate to those rallies. We help build the courses. Obviously, there's materials and stuff to go into that. Yeah. So that's the reason. That's where really the $15 go from the membership, is to go help fund that stuff and the fun prizes for people, and to make it fun for everybody.
That's great, man.
So if you haven't joined the GS Giants, for $15, join it, and then you'll even get your sticker every year saying that you're a GS Giant member. So we would appreciate it. So thank you.
Did you guys, weren't you doing like different colored sticker each year or something?
We do. Matter of fact, that's on our next board meeting on what color we're going to do for next year. So for 2026. So yeah, we again, that's the unique thing too, because a lot of people are proud on getting their stickers every year in the different colors and stuff like that. So yeah, it's we want to keep the heritage. There was a lot of work by the original GS folks, GS Giants, and so, and it's been tough too, because I think a lot of people obviously associate it because, oh, I don't own a GS. Why would I want to be in that club? Well, it's just not because you own a GS. It's more about the community, and we've, like I said, we thought about changing the name to maybe Adventure Giants or something like that, but there's so much brand equity in the GS Giants. It's been around for a long time, and I still think that there's value and value that we could bring to the community. So.
How about GS Giants and Friends?
Yeah, we you know what, that's very similar to something we thought about as well. We're actually looking at refreshing the logo. Again, it's been around for 15 years, right? So we're looking at refreshing the logo. Again, it's just about updating. Plus the website, we haven't had a lot of maintenance on it. Some stuff on there been on there for 6-7 years, like it's old, right? And people go to your website and it's not updated, like, well, what is this? You know, like, what am I doing? And so you got to make something that's open, inviting, refreshed, and something that's available to people that they feel like they're getting their value. Even if it's $15, it's still $15 that's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah.
We want to create some type of value for you.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, especially like the freaking Motas, like 30% off of Motas tire.
Oh yeah. Well,
you know
Brian. Well, obviously you know Brian, and it was his biggest sale he ever had.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Of him being able to sell that many tires. Now, granted, I think he's going to reevaluate the 30% off. That's okay, but I mean, even if you still got 20% or 10% off, it's still, you're saving money.
Yeah.
And as you well know, I mean, I know my tires, if I just buy a normal set of tires, I think a rear tire is going to cost me $260 and a front tire is going to cost me a couple $100. So $450, even at 10 or 20%. I mean, 20%, that's $90 off.
Yeah.
And it was free shipping.
Oh, that's nice.
So think about that.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody knows what shipping costs are. So, yeah, I mean, you know, when you're getting that kind of a discount and shipping's included, you're talking over potentially $150 savings.
Yeah.
For what, a $15 membership?
Yeah.
You know, that's just me, but
I think it's.
Go ahead.
I think it's good for people to join things like the GS Giants, the AMA, the BMW MOA. You know, you don't have to own a BMW to be in the MOA too. So I think those organizations are great to be a part of and to support, because they are trying to, just like you guys are saying here, you're trying to give back to the community or fight for rights or access or whatever it is that those organizations are doing. Those are things that we should help support as motorcyclists.
I agree. And the other thing I forgot about Waylon Wayne is we are also, because Tom Asher, who is a 2016 GS Trophy guy, Tom Asher is training at Waylon Wayne, and we are subsidizing 5 riders at his training.
That's great.
Because we believe in training. And and we're not picking the people. Tom's going to run the class. Everybody has paid already.
Yeah.
Tom's going to run the class, and then based on Tom's evaluation and participation there, and you know, whatever Tom decides, Tom's going to tell us the 5 people, and then we'll reimburse them for their training.
That's pretty awesome.
So so those are things that, again, we're trying to give back to the community, and we feel like that's our duty. As GS Giants, we've been around. You know, the GS is kind of one of the bikes that kind of set this whole adventure thing on the planet, right?
Yeah.
And you and Charlie took those GSs and it changed everything.
Yeah.
And we need to be good ambassadors to the sport. We need to be good ambassadors to the community. And giving back is part of our creed and part of our DNA.
For sure.
Yeah.
And on that note about giving back and part of the community, like I wanted to welcome you as a fellow ambassador to the BDR, the Backcountry Discovery Routes. So like, how did that come about? Like, why were you interested in being involved with that? I mean, I think I know the answer, but let's hear it.
I tell you what, I knew about the BDRs just
Yeah.
because, being in the community. But when I did my famous bridge thing at the Performance Center, Wendy, who was the trainer down there, who's,
Yeah.
everybody knows Wendy, we became friends after that. And the beauty of all that is I got invited to that, when I told you I got invited out to California for the Wyoming BDR.
Yeah.
That's where I met everybody. I met Tim James, who obviously now Tim and Wendy are married.
Yeah.
But I met Jocelyn Snow. I met, Sterling Noreen,
Yeah.
and have become friends with these people. There's more I can name, but that's what got me hooked that night, was to launch the Wyoming BDR. Like,
Yeah.
I want to do these. And then the other thing is Chad Warner, again, from Wayland Wayne, when he did all the BDRs within 180 some days or whatever.
His 10 BDR challenge.
His 10 BDR challenge at the time. And I was lucky enough that he invited me to go on the Wyoming one. And obviously that was a cluster the first time I did the Wyoming BDR. But that's what set that whole thing in motion. And then I started doing the BDRs. Obviously, I've got the YouTube thing, so I documented all the BDR stuff I went on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, I'm very fortunate that I could be able to do it, but I started, donating and being a benefactor and being a part of the community. And I went to different launches and things like that. I've spoken at my local dealerships about that. Actually, I hosted one here in Cincinnati recently for the new Southeast BDR. And was able to get 5 different dealerships to come together, and we had it offsite at a different location. And so that all that stuff prior, from the Wendy thing all the way through, in my experience of writing these BDRs, has really ignited my passion around being a part of that world, because I think there is so much. What I really love about the BDRs, again, love the routes, obviously. It's the places they send you on.
Yeah.
It's those little country stores, the little inns and places that you would never cross if you're just in general public.
Yeah.
And again, the sightseeing and the things that you see on these BDRs and the people you meet, that's what's ignited me. And I went back and did the Wyoming BDR, and this is another thing that, again, when I talk about the experiences that you have on a BDR and what gets you hooked, if you ever ride the Wyoming BDR, the end of it is right on the border of the reservation, and it's the Crow Indian Reservation, and the trail is about 30 or 40 miles out to the end, and you got to take 30, 40 miles back. Well, I met the owner's daughter and her husband. They were on a 4x4. There was 3 of us at the end. They came up and we just started talking about it. And it's their property. It's their ranch. Like, I want to say it's like a 10,000 acre ranch.
Wow.
And they allow access all the way to the end and back. And when you meet people like that have a 10,000 acre or more than that, I think, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they allow that stuff, and you see how friendly they are, and they could shut that off at any given moment and stuff like that. It tells you there's still good people in this world. There's places that you haven't seen. There's people you haven't met.
Yeah.
Which surprise the heck out of you. And we met last year. We were doing the Colorado BDR. We stayed in Dolores at this bike hostel. I never even thought of a hostel to stay in, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was fantastic. And I would tell anybody, it's in Dolores. It's right at the beginning of Section 2 of the Colorado BDR. It's a hostel. It is absolutely fantastic. There's rooms for 6 to 8 people, or there's single rooms or whatever you want. Beautiful facility, great place to go. But I would have never realized that if it wasn't on a BDR, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, what ignited my passion was I did the Mid-Atlantic BDR. I met people there. You're riding these routes. You see other people. You interact with different folks, like the Mid-Atlantic thing. And then the guys that I ride with, we've done Northeast. I've done the PA Wild thing. I've done Wyoming. Basically, I did Wyoming, but I've done the South Dakota X. When you start doing all these different things in Chattahoochee, the hooch, the BDRX hooch is great. When
Yeah.
you start doing all these different BDRs, but you start meeting people, and you have these little delis and little grocery stores that are delis and everything to a town, right? Like, you've been to these places, right? Even here in
Yeah.
Ohio,
Yeah.
these places, and they're carrying everything from a gas containers all the way to making sandwiches, or bolts and nuts and
Yeah.
whatever, and you just wouldn't experience that. And the scenery and the like you said, that's what's driven my passion. And then being part of this and what we're trying to do, it's just fantastic. And the people on the BDR are great. I know sometimes, there's I call it jealousy from other people, because of what they're doing, but
Yeah.
get involved. Like, even if you can't make a large donation or whatever, even the smallest donation helps, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on building these routes. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in helping these communities. Look at what happened, with Hurricane Helene on the Southeast BDR, and the event that we had down there. Now, granted, I didn't get a chance to go. I don't know if you were able to go either.
Yeah.
But, that big event, and they donated money back to the communities, and, there's a lot of good out of the BDR.
Yeah.
And to be a part of that, and be a part of, again, a team, an organization that is giving back to the communities and stuff. That's why I like the GS Giants. That's the reason I like the BDR thing, because at my age and where I'm at and what I'm able to do and contribute, I feel like it's part of me being able to give back to this thing that we do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's, I became an ambassador, I want to say sometime around 2016. So it was before the MA came this way. And just being, I wasn't like super involved. I would help at some trade shows. I would go to some movie premieres and help,
Yep.
present that kind of stuff. And the more I was involved with it, the more I felt the same way as you. But what I also did, since I knew in the back of my mind, I want to try to do something with this. I just don't know what. At the time, I had the general idea, but just being involved with that organization and seeing that the adventure tourism thing, like being able to bring people's money into these communities that need money. Like, there's not much there anymore. Like, that was definitely like a big part of the mission that I took from them, was kind of that, like, adventure tourism, bringing people in, trying to give something back to the community. Like, there's a lot of really good things that the BDR does that, that we as stewards of but we're influencing each other to do better. That's definitely something that the BDR does.
Yeah, the economic impact of these local communities is amazing. Yeah. I mean, like, we're going up to Idaho, right? And we've got a Airbnb. We're starting on the north side and working our way down. But when you think about this, we're doing an Airbnb, and people might have a hard time trying to do an Airbnb or rent places out. And like, if we weren't going, would they ever rent it out? They're making extra money off of us coming up there. And and there's little towns and stuff that you just read about that they are thankful when you walk in the door, because you just might have made their week for sales, or who knows, right? Because they get 4 or 5 riders come through, and they're buying drinks, and they're buying this, and they're buying that, and and that's a big thing for them. Yeah, it's a big thing. And I remember the Wyoming thing. We stopped at a restaurant, and I don't think he had one person for a restaurant. And a couple of us walk in there for a meal, and it's his wife cooking. Yeah. And he's an older gentleman, and he sat down with us and talked, and And I tell you what, folks, when you talk to these people, he gave us the best camping spot that night on BLM land.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It was it was unbelievable. And we would have never found that place without that, sitting down there and talking to that gentleman. And those are the things that, like, wow, those are the things that you impact when you're part of this community. And
for sure.
yeah, the BDR is great. I mean, I granted I am a part of it, but I think the BDR does a very, they do a wonderful job of making sure that the communities that they go through are taken care of, and we create that positive impact for them.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But yeah, I'm very happy and proud to be an ambassador.
It's good to have you, man.
Thanks. You were my sponsor.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to, anything, upcoming projects, any of that kind of thing?
I will say this. Would I love my YouTube channel to be bigger? Don't know. I do this out of my enjoyment of it, right? Would I one day like to be maybe like Dork or Ian from Big Rock Moto? I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. My bigger projects are, again, just sharing the experiences and showing people the different things that you could do around, again, Adventure World, that type of stuff. I am working on, obviously, we're going to be doing Idaho BDR. We got Waylon Wayne coming up.
Yeah.
I am actually leaving one of my GSs out in the West Coast, which is going to be unique. I'm actually parking it in Denver, and then I'm going to hopefully get back and do the Nevada BDR, and I'm leaving my bike in Vegas. Go house it there for a period of time so I can get out and do more stuff on the West Coast.
Yeah.
That's a goal of mine to do that, because again, I'm fortunate enough to be able to potentially do that.
Yeah.
Because it's just so hard when you live east to go west. It takes 3 or 4 days just to get out west, and by the time you have time off or whatever you're trying to do and just life stuff, it's 7 days of just driving out and driving back. It's a full week of just getting out and getting back, let alone doing anything out there.
Yeah.
So that's part of my goal. Continue to keep growing the GS Giants, getting that corrected. We got new board members, putting us on a good path there, because at some stage my tenure will be over there as well, and I want to leave it in good hands and give it the best stewardship that I possibly can for the GS Giants. I do want to get more heavily involved with the BDRs. So I'm really want to get more focused on doing what's right for the BDR and helping that however I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then from that, really, it's just really about sharing my experiences and going forward. It's a lot on the plate, and obviously I've got my personal life and stuff like that, and probably a lot of people haven't seen a lot of videos lately just because I've actually started dating someone. So so that's changed my life a little bit for the better.
Yeah.
But it's all a balancing act anyways in this world. But those are the things that at the end of the day, I want to share what I'm doing. I constantly want to give different perspectives on trips and things like that, maybe gear and stuff that I use. So that's on the YouTube thing and more, that type of stuff. The GS Giants is about getting the foundation set again and building that out, and then give good stewardship until my term's over, and then be able to hand off a successful, handoff to somebody else at some stage, and then be a bigger part of the BDR and figuring out how I can contribute my skill sets or whatever for the BDR group.
Yeah.
And then just continue to be an overall ambassador for the ADV world, and good, bad, or ugly, however people view me or view what I'm doing. But I think that I'm trying to create some type of value for folks to get them involved and whatever level they want to get to. And that's really what it comes down to for me.
That's great, Matt. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and everything that you've been doing for the community and in the short but long time that you've been doing it, man. It's been awesome to get to know you and to watch you, progress through this thing and coming out to the events and seeing you riding, and it's been great, dude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been a great ride, to say the least. Now, granted, it's been a bumpy one because I've dropped the bikes, but seriously, I mean, folks like yourself, I'm going to give a couple shouts out here at the end here.
Yeah.
People like yourself who I met and who has really embraced and understood where I'm coming from in this world. Like we met at Whalen Way. I've been to the Fool's Ride a few times, and it's just been absolutely fantastic. But folks like yourself, Chad Warner, I can't say enough about Chad, because he's the first guy that I ran into with a bike, and he actually sat down for an hour and a half with me and just kind of talked about this world that I was getting into.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Asher has become a great friend. He is the one that's been training me and helping me get to be a better rider. And then my buddies, Tim, Dan, Greg, the guys that I ride with on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Tim used to, and Tim, you've met him. Tim used to be a motocross rider and stuff like that, and they've been big helps to me on, just being more positive about the riding stuff and like that. So I do want to give a couple shouts out to those individuals. And again, for Wendy from the BDR, if it wouldn't have been for her, I would have never probably got involved with the BDR, been doing that stuff. So that's been a huge thing. So yeah, those are some core people that have really, have pushed me or put me in the right direction, right? I mean, I could name a few others, but those are the ones that kind of like peaked that stuff, right? You with some of the dual sport stuff, because I would have never bought a small bike if I wouldn't have talked to you. I wouldn't have. I was always on I was just, me. I used to make fun of the small bikes, but because I had the big bikes, and then you're like, dude, you got to come up to the Fool's Ride. Well, I'm not going to go. I did the Fool's Ride on my bigger bikes. And I was like, yeah, now I know why I got to get a small, a dual sport bike. And so, like I said, with you and being so open and so inviting, and then Chad, the Chad thing, which led to the Tom Asher piece and becoming friends with him and the training side, and then Wendy's when she invited me out to California to Wyoming BDR, that's really kind of launched this whole BDR and even more into the YouTube stuff because of the people that I met there. So
yeah,
those are like key things that have driven kind of the branching out from where I've been and what's going on, and from there I've just, again, I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I've done so far.
Yeah.
Very fortunate for the life that I've had to be able to put me in this position. And all I can do is, the old adage is kind of try to pay it forward, or try to at least help people get to where they want to somehow, some way, whether it's a little bit of a tidbit or whatever help I can give. That's what I try to do. And hopefully it comes off that way. That's all I can, do the best I can. But I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Thank you.